welcome to another episode of Cranial Diarrhea. I'm an extremely irritated Tiff,
And I'm Dad, extremely serious Dad.
and that's why I'm irritated, because he's taking it to a whole new level.
This was the request.
That was not a
The
request.
request shall be granted.
The request was just not to be stupid.
Again, the request shall be granted.
What are we talking about?
Today we are talking about a unique phenomenon known as
Phenomenon.
the Alaskan Triangle.
Did you know about this?
I did not know about this until you made me aware of this. So now I am aware and know about this.
And you do any kind of research at all?
I did minimal research as my job this week is going to be to provide commentary and inquisitive questioning as you present the presentation.
This show is probably going to end with a throat punch.
I shall not break this character today.
Anywho, so I did another paper, because that's what we do now. Apparently, I just write research papers.
Very impressive.
Let's get into it.
We shall now begin.
Okay.
So I hand it over to you
Shut up
to begin the
and
process.
let me do it. How about that?
I shall do that. Now,
I have never wanted to hit you more than I want to hit you right now.
this was your request. Your request has been granted.
Okay, shut up. All right. The Alaskan Triangle is a name that stems from the infamous Bermuda Triangle. It's an area of wilderness that connects the three city points of Juneau. I think it's Barrow or Barrow. I don't know. I should have looked that up and I didn't. And Anchorage.
Do we happen to know what the mileage of the triangle would be?
I'm sure there's something out there, but I didn't. You're shaking the camera.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I didn't go that in depth with like how I know it's pretty big. It's pretty big.
Okay.
The area also covers the northern region of the Barrow Mountain Range. For decades, the triangle has been researched and talked about due to multiple mysterious disappearances.
So very similar to the Bermuda Triangle.
From what I know, I'm not really well versed on the Bermuda Triangle, to be completely honest with you.
I think that is probably a similarity, that there's been strange disappearances and electromagnetic interferences.
I haven't gotten there yet.
I apologize.
According to the research that I've done,
Very good research.
over 18,000 people have gone missing since 1988.
So 18,000 people, were these like crowds on like planes or something?
Well, so there are planes. You've got locals, and then obviously because of the mystery around it, there is a lot of tourism, and I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah, there's it's kind of all lumped in there together.
So a variety of missing person reports.
Yeah. I straightened my hair today. Did you notice?
It looks very nice.
Thanks.
I would say I straightened my hair today, but I did not.
Well, your one hair is already straight. Whereas the Bermuda Triangle, my research says that it can be debunked with simple explanations in physics and disproving the legend and lore.
Now this is the Bermuda Triangle?
The Bermuda Triangle.
Okay.
Again, I'm not well versed on that, so I can't accurately say whether that's the case or not. The Alaska Triangle is a bit more of a challenge to debunk.
Do we know why it's a bit more of a challenge?
If you will let me finish this
I
paragraph.
shall do that.
Okay. This unusual triangular region runs from the most populated city in the state to one of the most remote and has been associated with some fairly unusual phenomena. In addition to the people that have gone missing in the Alaska Triangle, planes have also gone missing without a trace. While this could be attributed to the weather, there have been disappearances and accidents in the Alaska Triangle involving planes and not just people. That was a double
Could you say that again, please?
no, because it's messed up.
Okay, I just want to make sure I'm clear.
So basically, there aren't just people that are disappearing; there are planes that are just vanishing without a trace. Was
Okay.
the point of that?
I
Okay.
thought that's what it. I thought that's what I comprehended. Yes, thank you for the clarity.
There are many theories as to why so many disappearances are occurring in this area. Um, they made a major. They made major. The theories made major headlines in October of 1972 when the U.S. House Majority Leader and Alaska Congressman, um, someone else that was traveling with them, and then a pilot of the plane vanished while traveling on a private plane. After weeks of searching via plane, boat, car, and foot, investigators never found the plane wreckage, any trace of the passengers, nothing.
So I wonder, do we know if it's like very dense
Yeah, so
forest?
the triangle itself consists there are mountains, there are bodies of water, there are caves, there are like um forests. It's a vast
So it's kind
array
of okay.
of terrain.
Okay.
Afterwards, more planes went down, hikers went missing, Alaskan residents and tourists seemed to vanish into thin air. Um, in any given year, 500 to 2,000 people go missing in Alaska, never to be seen again. And I don't know if that's specifically within that triangle or if they're counting that for Alaska, the whole state or whatever.
So I guess my question in that would be: Does Alaska do Alaska? Wow, I'm so sorry. Does Alaska have predatory animals that could be attacking people?
Well, yeah. So you've got bears. You've got. Well, I'm gonna get into all that. There are a lot of
Oh, I'm
theories.
sorry. Yes, go right ahead.
Authorities conduct hundreds of rescue missions, most often return without finding the missing person or any evidence at all. This area of Alaska has a missing persons rate more than twice the national average.
Interesting.
Now, just to touch on the wildlife there, the predatory wildlife or whatever. If that were the case, would you not still find traces? Right, you would find scraps of cloth or
I think that would depend. Like if they drag people back to their dens, you may never find their dens in that heavily populated area,
well,
or eventually bones decay. So
well, you
depending
would
on
think
the
though
time
this has
span,
been going on since 1972 and no one has ever found a trace of
that's
people
very
that are
interesting.
missing.
Very interesting. You
Um,
would think at some point someone would stumble across some remains
yeah.
while they were exploring
Well, and
or something.
you got to think too because I mean these people have a lot of clothing on, right? Let's get real, it's Alaska.
Well, maybe. I'm not sure.
Well, I mean,
haven't.
especially in like your mountainous.
Yeah, I haven't been in the mountains of Alaska, so I'm not really sure
Well,
what
the
type
mountains
of
of Tennessee
clothing.
are cold.
I try to avoid the mountains of Tennessee as well.
Um. Okay, so conspiracy theorists have put together arguments of extraterrestrial activity, energy vortexes, and evil anomalies.
Okay, so explain to me what an energy vortex. What would that
So
be?
I have this in here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I can't
Yes.
off the top of my head do that because I'm not a physicist, but I do. I did put some notes in here
Okay,
because
perfect.
I kind of felt like that question was
That
gonna.
was going to come up.
Yeah.
Very good.
Um. Some call the Alaskan Triangle the Devil's Triangle to emphasize how sinister it is.
Isn't that also the Bermuda Triangle? Don't they call that as well the Devil's Triangle?
I'm not sure.
I think I've heard that. I cannot 100% confirm nor deny,
Yeah, I'm not sure. I would have to.
but I think I've heard that.
I would have to look into that. I'm not
Okay.
sure. But I just got a headache right over my eyeball.
I'm so sorry.
Many people believe that Bigfoot could be lurking in the forests of the triangle. So
That's an interesting theory.
some people believe that Bigfoot is wreaking havoc here. Um, so here's where we get into the energy vortexes. Okay, vortexes. Is that right? Is that the plural? I don't know.
Sounds good to me.
Anyway, Energy vortexes are thought to be swirling centers of energy concentrated in specific places where the energy crackles most intensely. So, read your handwriting. Um, where was I? Oh,
Vortexes.
yes, thank you. But the energy radiates in a spiraling cone shape, clockwise or counterclockwise, creating positive and negative effects. Okay. So they are thought to affect humans in various physical, mental, and emotional ways. Positive vortexes spiral upward in a clockwise motion, creating and enhancing the flow of energy. This type is said to be conducive to healing, meditation, creativity, and self exploration. People actively search these places out to feel inspired, recharged, or uplifted. So, some of the places where they are saying that there are positive vortexes are like the Egyptian pyramids, Stonehenge, the Sedona Desert, and other sacred temples and cathedrals. Um, Alternatively, negative vortexes spiral downward in a counterclockwise motion, creating a drain or depleting energy and depleting the positive energies in its vicinity. I'm sorry, am I boring you?
No, you're perfectly fine. I'm actually kind of interested in this.
Okay. In humans, they are believed to cause health problems, including depression, nightmares, disorientation, confusion, and both visual and audio hallucinations.
But that still doesn't explain the disappearance.
Well, it would if you're caught up in this vortex and it causes you to become disoriented or confused or you're having visual or audio hallucinations.
But there again, like we said before, wouldn't someone have come upon those remains at some point?
I don't know. They are also said to cause electronic instruments to malfunction. So think planes. Some places that are said to be filled with negative vortexes are the Bermuda Triangle, Japan's Devil's Sea, which I'm not sure
I
what
don't.
that is, but I we
Not
should
heard of that.
probably maybe look into that.
That might be something to look into. Yes.
And Easter Island. I think we should look into that too.
Yeah, I've heard of Easter Island, but I really
Yeah,
do not know
it's like
much of
those
the
big
lore.
statue head things, but I don't know anything more than
Yes,
that.
I do not.
Um, Electronic readings in Alaska have found large concentrations of magnetic anomalies, some of which have disrupted compasses to the point that they are as much as 30 degrees off.
So I wonder if anybody's ever done like samples where you drill down like core samples to see if there's more natural magnetic materials in those areas compared to other areas
I don't know.
that could be causing these effects.
Maybe.
Just a thought.
In addition, some search and rescue workers have reported having audio hallucinations, disorientation, and lightheadedness.
And I wonder also, could not like an increased magnetic field cause some of that, the hallucinations and the lightheadedness? It seems like I have read that somewhere, but I cannot be
Yeah,
100% sure.
so here are some more of the. Here's one more, I think, of the theories. I only have one more. The native people who live in the triangle, there's a I don't know if it's like a tribe or what it is. I didn't put the name in here because there's no way I was saying that correctly. Um, they believe that there's a benevolent shape-shifting demon known as Kushtaka. I hope I'm saying that right. So basically, this thing is a half man, half otter, and it's famous for luring people to their death by portraying women and children screaming for help. Um, so the legend says that this creature captures people and steals their soul. So that's a theory for from some of the natives.
Didn't we have something on a show about a shapeshifter that was the form of an otter
So it was
in person?
similar to
Okay, I
this.
thought so.
I tried to look back, and we don't have anything on this specific
Particular one.
cryptid.
Okay.
Um, so just as planes disappear, they are also said to appear. out of nowhere. The most notable example of this actually happened in 1986. Represent. That's the year I was born. It was me. It was obviously me. In 1986, a Japanese plane came across three unidentified flying objects while UFOs while traveling from Iceland to Anchorage, Alaska. According to the report, the three UFOs chased the airplane right through the Alaska Triangle. People on board the plane said they saw flashing lights following them, moving quickly, disappearing, showing up again in an instant. The pilots also reported the unusual aircrafts darting in and out of their line of sight and performing strange aerial maneuvers that were unlike what anyone had seen from an average plane.
Okay. And this was a commercial flight. Was it more than one flight?
I think this one was documented.
Okay.
So I'm sure there
So,
have been other
so the
sightings.
lights and the following was kind of once they entered the triangle. Am I
Mhm.
understanding that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So there are a lot of people that pay no heed to these conspiracy theories, right? Instead, they think that Alaska's rugged terrain is to blame for the locals and tourists alike going missing.
And I can see that. I mean, I can
Yeah.
understand that.
A common theory is that people leave for hikes and come across untamed wildlife, harsh weather, dangerous mountain ledges, steep walkways, hidden caves, they fall in or whatever, that ultimately lead to the person's demise.
Which all could be possible.
Yes.
That could all be very possible because
Yeah.
this is unexplored terrain. So we really,
Right.
in
Well, I think it's protected, right? It's
I also have to wonder though, could they not use some kind of thermal imaging to try to pick up if people had fallen like into a cave or if you're over a fort? But I guess the animals and the predators would show up too.
Mm-hmm. And then you have to think about how long, right? So if you go out there a week after, you're not going to find a heat
Right.
signature.
Right. This is true.
The Travel Channel recently aired a new show called, well, I don't know if it's new, but a show called The Alaska Triangle, during which experts and eyewitnesses attempt to unlock the mystery of the Alaska Triangle. The episodes that have aired, from what I could tell, like they covered stuff like there's an Alaskan Loch Ness monster. I don't know that we did that one. We may have.
I don't remember that one.
We may have, but I don't remember it. The disappearance of an airplane carrying 44 military personnel in 1950, which is something that I didn't find in my research, so that's interesting.
Maybe that is, if a conspiracy theorist would say maybe that's a government cover up. Who knows?
A possible underground alien base in Fairbanks. The Curse of Kushtaka, which is the cryptid I mentioned earlier. Alaskan Bigfoot, ghost ships.
No, ghost ships?
Yeah, when I did my research, I didn't see anything about ghost ships. I didn't specifically look for that. And there could be things there about that, but
that might be an interesting topic for another show. Ghost ships.
Why don't you write it down so we don't forget that? And what was the other one?
The cryptid.
No, it was like Japan, a lake in Japan or something like that.
Oh yes, it was.
I don't remember. We'll have to look later.
But we're good. All right.
Yeah. Okay.
I will write Lake in Japan and that will remind us.
Okay. There was also an episode that focused on a UFO that pursued a Boeing 747, which I think might be separate from the Japanese plane. I don't think that was a Boeing 747. And a monstrous bird, another cryptid, known as the giant thunderbird. And I don't think we covered that. I don't think we got to aerial cryptids.
I haven't heard of giant thunderbird, so I would say we did not. No,
Yeah.
we mainly stayed with water cryptids.
Yeah, we
right
didn't.
now.
We didn't get to many of the land or the.
And then we were going to
the
take
air.
a break and come back
Yeah.
and kind of back and forth. So.
Yeah. So this next piece, it's located in the triangle itself, and I had no knowledge of this, and I kind of went down a rabbit hole here. It really interested me, and I was kind of psyched to share. So I'm gonna go into this, and then we'll. I think that might be the last step. No, I'm lying. Yeah, it is. Okay. Anyway,
Perfect.
so something interesting that I found was the Great Underground Pyramid of Alaska. Okay. Apparently, the Black Pyramid, that's what it's called, is buried deep in the ground in the Alaskan desert and would be much larger than the Great Pyramid of, is it Giza or Giza?
Guys, that is what we'll go with.
Okay. So it's bigger than that.
So I wonder with the. Well, I'm gonna let you finish. I'm sorry, because
Okay.
you may have this information.
Ever since its discovery in the early 20th century, a succession of cover ups has attempted to conceal the existence of a genuine finding, which, according to many, could be of extraterrestrial origin or the remains of a long extinct human civilization. The pyramid was discovered May 22nd in 1992 while China was conducting an underground nuclear test in their northern desert, China's northern desert. Initially, scientists thought it was an earthquake, so they used the seismograph explosion to analyze the Earth's crust and discovered a pyramidal structure far greater than the Great Pyramid of Egypt near Mount McKinley in Alaska. Despite its allegedly ancient origins, confirmation of the Black Pyramid's existence did not emerge until July 26th of 2012, when a veteran journalist and UFO specialist, Linda Moulton Howe, reported its discovery on the Coast to Coast AM radio show. She gave a study in which she stated that the area known as the Alaska Triangle is a zone of disappearance of ships, planes, and people. The night she broadcast a pre recorded interview with a former U.S. Army counterintelligence officer who explained the circumstances surrounding the pyramid's discovery and disclosed the link between the site and the U.S. military. So the officer was relocated from Alaska to Fort Meade, the NSA's headquarters, where he was able to establish that sensitive data verified the pyramid's tail. He claims that he thought maybe they had something about this pyramid, so he went and tried to find that information. So he did come across a few things, and then he says that as soon as he found them, he sat down to like read the information. Two people came over and were literally like, "Hey, you don't need to know that," and they took everything.
Did he know where these people were from?
So they're with the NSA.
Oh.
Yeah. So he also claims that a local NBC affiliate aired a report around 6 months after the blast announcing the discovery of the pyramid. But when he sought to contact the station for a copy of the article, they denied it had been published and said they didn't have a copy to share. So things took a bizarre turn the morning after the reporter, Linda, had a conversation with the officer. The son of a former Western Electric engineer contacted her to validate the officer's statements and to add numerous additional jigsaw pieces. Okay. The news source indicated that between 1959 and 1961, his father worked on a strong electrical system emanating from a very massive subterranean pyramid of unknown origin in Alaska. And according to his accounts, okay, here's what he says. After the war, my father majored in electrical engineering and physics, and after graduating from college, he was chosen by the military to join a group of other experts to study and operate in a subterranean building in Alaska known as the Black Pyramid. He mentioned multiple times how seriously the government regarded this initiative and the precautions they took to keep it hidden. I had assumed it was a military base, but he explained that it was a research project on energy distribution. So his dad went on to become AT&T's major information supplier, which was, of course, the predecessor of today's web and cell phone technologies. And in his final years, he says his dad would often grumble when he received his power bill, claiming that it could be free if we only knew the truth. Um, Now, the son is beginning to suspect that his dad knew a lot more than he initially believed. He told her that he was going over her articles and studies to see if there are any, to see if he could cross reference anything from his dad's stuff about her stay in Alaska. Um,
So basically, what they're saying is the electricity provided, I don't know if it'd be United States, worldwide, or whatever, was coming from this pyramid.
I don't know if that's what was being implied.
Okay, maybe I just implied that.
But I do know that they were studying this structure for its energy
Okay,
purposes.
interesting.
Yeah. Um, According to how the journalist, or was she a journalist, researcher? I forgot what she was. It's in here somewhere.
We should go with researcher.
Sure. The pyramid is located around 80 kilometers southwest of Mount McKinley, and it has been said that the item is clearly very old, having been created and buried by a very advanced society that is unknown to us today. The Black Pyramid was named I don't know where I was going with that. And it has since then carefully been guarded by the U.S. Army and private military outfit that controls access to the site. So no one can get in there.
So it's kind of like an Area 51 type
Yeah.
setup. It's very interesting.
I thought
Again,
so.
you would think with all the technology we have these days, we could get some kind of, but there again, with satellite and control and
Yeah.
governmental regulations.
I'm wondering with that, right? With this pyramid that obviously has some sort of energy source emanating from it, could that be attributing to what these people are calling these energy vortexes, right?
It very well could be. I also would have to wonder, like the pyramids, the Great Pyramids,
Mm-hmm.
are they being investigated for any type of energy source, or I just wonder if there's a correlation there.
Honestly, I don't know. Maybe that's something we should look
I'm
into.
just that might be a good show as well to kind of look into. Is there a
Yeah, but
correlation?
I think what's interesting here is that with the pyramid and the plane, like there is some mention of some extraterrestrial,
Well,
like, because this is a, what they're basically saying is this is a structure that has this technology that it came from somewhere that was far more advanced than
the other thing that's interesting too, if you think about it, what is the shape of the pyramid?
well, it's a
Triangle.
triangle.
So if you look at the Bermuda Triangle, the Alaskan Triangle, is there a correlation? That's really interesting
Yeah.
to delve into. I think our audience agrees. It's very interesting to delve into because now I have to wonder, is the triangle representative of something, maybe a alien race or something, as you have aforementioned?
Yeah,
in
well,
your
and then it
report?
brings you into, what about Bermuda? Is there something there too that
That's
we
the
don't know
other.
about?
That was another question I had. Is there a pyramid structure in Bermuda
Right.
that we haven't discovered? Because when did you say this structure was discovered? It was like 1990?
1992.
Yeah. So how long has it been there?
Right.
I mean,
It had to have been there. I mean, it's buried, right? So
Right.
it has to have been there
a while.
a really long time.
So that just kind of brings up, that is kind of annoying. Mabel has decided to join us. That just brings up a lot of questions, about the relativity of the two locations, the relativity of the pyramids. Is the triangle some kind of symbol, some kind of vortex symbol? What's the symbol for vortex?
I think I don't know. When I think vortex, I think spiral.
But think about how a spiral normally looks.
Mm-hmm.
Starts big and goes to a point.
Yeah.
So would that not be considered a possibility of
Mm-hmm.
a representation of a triangle?
I would think so. Yeah. So what do you think? Do you think that these disappearances are due to something related to this, or do you think that it's the terrain and the wildlife?
I'm going to be honest with you. One of the things, and again, conspiracy theories, uh, that crossed my mind as you were discussing this with the military taking control.
Mhm. That's always a red flag, right?
There's things that I'm sure our government does that we don't know about, things we probably don't want to know about.
Yeah.
Could that be part of that whole situation? Could that be government intervention or government, I don't want to say protecting, but ensuring that whatever it is they have there is not getting out? Do we really know? Uh, I am
Do
a
we
firm
want to know?
I am a firm believer that there's things that members of government knows that we don't know, and we probably don't need to know,
Hmm.
because I think there's things out there that if we knew, we would probably live our lives in fear every day instead of just going about life. Um, for me, I think this is more of I'm more of the settings of it's such a dense area
Hmm.
and so hard to explore and find and do rescue operations anyway. I think this could be one of those that could be a combination. I think a lot of this is where people actually go out and try to explore and get lost and get confused and things happen. Um, could there be foul play? There could always be foul play. Could it be predators? Of course, it could be predators, such as bears, whatever they have in Alaska,
Bigfoot.
Bigfoot. Could it be some type of governmental involvement? I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but you can't rule anything out.
Maybe Bigfoot's doing it and he's just after the beef jerky.
That could be a possibility. That could be a possibility. I don't know that you can really. I think you can rule some things out, but I think just because people want to be inquisitive
Hmm.
and try to find the answer, I don't think at this point anything's been eliminated or taken off the table as far as a possible answer because there's not been enough investigation. I think with more research and bulldozers to tear down the forest and level the mountains, we could probably figure out what was going on. But do we want to change the landscape?
No, I don't think you can. I think that's it's protected. It's like a
But why is it protected?
exactly.
See, these are questions you have to ask.
I just yeah.
But I think it could be a combination of things. What is your opinion on this?
I think it's the otter man. I
It
don't,
could very well
I
be.
don't think it's the otter man. I think it has something to do with pyramid.
It would be interesting to kind of dig into research on pyramids, the representation of the triangle, and see. But there again, some of the research done, and I don't mean this in any negative way, but are by people who self proclaim they're experts in the fields that they're exploring,
Hmm.
that may not be experts in the field. So that's one of the issues with social media these days. You get a lot of so called researchers that kind of dilute what the actual researchers are doing.
Kind of like how I'm like I'm doing all this research, but it's really I'm just going to various websites and pulling information.
Yes, but you're kind of compiling it and then we discuss it and you are giving credit, so it's all good.
Yeah. I
I
do, and that's the thing too is that I don't when I look into these things, I go to various different um sources, I guess, and I try to come away with the most common um information um that I can find. So like the pyramid I came across quite a few times, and then the plane obviously I came across that quite a few. So like I compile my information that way. I don't I don't go to one website and pull it and think it's and use use it as gospel, right?
I just think for me, the connections and the identification of possible connections is the intriguing part of this process.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as we spoke of today, are triangles some kind of symbol? Triangles and pyramids, pyramid to pyramid, Alaskan triangle, Bermuda triangle.
But and I also think this is a good kind of a really interesting segue into a series that I think we're going to start. I guess we started it today and didn't realize we were going to start it today on aliens.
That's going to be interesting because,
Yeah.
especially with, the now, I guess, unclassified material that government is actually putting out.
Oh yeah, I haven't even looked at that.
So
Have you looked at that?
I have looked at some of it, to be honest with you. It hasn't really swayed me one way or the other, but there is a lot more material coming out, and at least there is an acknowledgement now, per se,
Well, I
coming
mean,
to the forefront.
we had to have known, right? Like you can't think that we're the only living beings that exist.
Could you not?
How? How could you?
How could you not?
I just don't see how that would be possible.
I never really thought in depth of it.
So then maybe that's what we do, right? So we do this series on aliens and then at the end of the series we come together and we say, "Okay, is there life beyond what we know?"
Yes, well, that could lead into a whole realm of spirituality and everything else. So, yeah, that's probably a good question to pose. I think that was actually in a song by someone at some point. So, life beyond something.
I have to say this. I don't like this and I think this show is just stupid.
This is your request,
It was not.
and I have honored your
It
request.
was not.
This is a one-time thing. There was so many lines I have for when you were saying things, like when you were talking about Bigfoot. I also had like a mean tribe of pygmy warriors, but I could not say that because I wasn't joking around. So I have been serious on this show.
It feels like this show needs to be on like NPR or something.
Welcome to National Public Renaissance.
This show has just been rough.
This was the show that was requested. I have provided the request.
I did not request
Now, there's no guarantee on next show. I'm probably going back to normal. Unless this is a show that our listeners.
that. No, I think a lot of people are gonna. Well, the people that usually watch are gonna be upset because, and I'll tell you, like I was on the phone with my other dad, and he was like, I always look forward to what he's gonna introduce himself as.
Well, thank you for that. But as
So I
aforementioned,
guess I was incorrect. People do like your goofiness.
but now I have fulfilled your request.
This was not my request. My request was not to do this. But anyway,
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, my ending for today shall be I hope you have an enjoyable week. And until the next show, may your glass always be full of your favorite drink in which you partake.
oh my god, fuck off.